When the AUDL picks their games of the weeks, a lot goes into it. Giving attention to as many teams around the league as possible, the crew dragging the equipment across the country back and forth, as well as trying to get as many big stars in the league on TV as often as they can. You get the point. Sometimes those preseason picks wind up really working out and you get some great games, and then sometimes they don't. This one though, the 4-1 Atlanta Hustle taking on the 6-0 New York Empire, I don't think the league could have drawn it up much better heading into this big matchup. These two teams don't meet often, but they did meet twice in 2021 in two games that ended on the final play of the game. In a regular season win for Atlanta down in Atlanta, it ended on a D. John Lithgow could have tied it up for the Empire at the buzzer, sent it to OT, but it wasn't to be. The Empire, though, got their revenge in the playoffs when Ryan Osgar caught the buzzer beater that sent the Empire to championship weekend and sent Atlanta home for the season. This burgeoning rivalry is about big players making big plays, and I do think it is a cliche around Ultimate, whether you go to a tryout or sometimes you have those practices where people say, and those in charge will give you that, hey, make some big plays, of course be safe, but make those big plays, show us what you got. And while I do think there are a lot, of course, of big plays and big players around the league, AUDL, every weekend, you see the highlights. The Empire and the Hustle are teams specifically built for an abundance of quote-unquote big plays. A major reason for this is the sheer size and athleticism of both of these teams. I'm not knocking the other teams around the league. I'm just simply looking at the heights of these players on the roster and the numbers. Jeff Babbitt is a strong guy with huge shoulders, you know that. Ben Yott and John Lithgow are average-sized players if they played in the NBA, but they're gigantic in the AUDL. Antoine Davis, Marquez Brownlee, Oliver Chartok, Jack Williams, those are not small guys by any means. And while for Atlanta, Misha Freistetter and Jakeem Polk are questionable, Aiden Austin-Knabb is out, and Michael Fairley hasn't played yet this season, the Hustle 20 still has some big bodies and big highlight makers. Brett Holzmeyer and Dean Ramsey have both been playing both sides of the disc and are both putting up numbers: 10 goals, 4 assists, and 5 blocks for Ramsey, 7 goals, 8 assists, and 10 blocks for Holzmeyer. JP Burns, Carl Eckwurzel, Kenneth Taylor, and recent Callahan winner Justin Burnett are all big-time leapers. Last season, Mike Kobira flew through the air in an Empire uniform, so New York fans should know what he's all about. And we can rework the word big a little bit. It's not necessarily physically even big too. The Atlanta Hustle are full of guys with big throws. Between Austin Taylor, Bobby Lay, and rookie sensation Liam Haberfield, there may not be a trio around the entire league with that kind of huck power. And what about big numbers? Matt Smith is a short king who puts up huge numbers. Second in the league all-time in goals with 340, and 17 already this season. Only Cam Brock of Indy has a bigger goal number. And this may be a stretch of a definition, but the Atlanta Hustle also have shown to have big depth this season as well. Even without the names I already mentioned will be missing the contest, the Hustle have players that were or would be primary options on other teams, but are just overqualified role players on the Hustle. Christian Olsen, Max Thorne, Billy O'Brien, and Bradley St. Johns. While it was sad to see Tampa Bay go, the Atlanta Hustle made the best of that situation. I didn't even mention everybody in the 20, but you get the point. The Hustle have like 15 different players who, if you told me they made the big plays of the game, I wouldn't be surprised. The Empire, meanwhile, are going largely healthy with a few question marks, but there are no omissions that would surprise you. I said it on the podcast, but that D-line for the Empire has some great questions to have to answer. With Josue Aloro back with the team, you're going to have a hard time naming a better handler-defender group than Brownlee, Randolph, Katz, Fortin, and Aloro across the entire league. I do talk about the Dross and their blocks quite a bit. Mike is 5 away from 200 and Ryan is 8 away, so keep an eye on that. But Jeff Babbitt is 8th all-time on the blocks list, and Ben Yott is 13th. Marquez is 49 on the list, and Antoine is 54. And that's the all-time list of players that already played close to a decade and have since retired or hung up their cleats. So Antoine and Marquez especially were only going to rise on that list. The funny thing though is that this game will likely be decided by how the Empire O-line handles that hustle zone. For all that talk of big plays, this game might just be decided by death by 1,000 passes from Elliot Chartok, Solomon Reichmeyer-Bailey, Jack Williams, and Ryan Osgar. For a game with so many big moments expected, there is irony in the idea of a plodding, methodical masterclass of short passes that might await us. But whether the throws are big or small, I hope you join us at 7 p.m. on Saturday night at Joseph F. Facina Field for this one. Yes, it's the game of the week, so set your DVR to watch it on FS2 the next morning, but give me a wave if you see me at the stadium. So I hope to see you soon.